your ball in the trees and then you lip out the putt. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us, 'cause now you're listening to The Rough Cut.
Hello, and welcome down to another episode of The Rough Cut podcast, where you join us yet again in beautiful Manchester just before we are about to set sail and explore the wide open world. Today we are joined by Mick and Jacob. And when I say we, I'm talking about the royal we, which is me. I'm Pete. How are we?
Very good. How are you?
Oh, great.
Good.
Thanks. Coffee's not hit yet, obviously.
We are in a little bit earlier today, so maybe kind of sort of the engines aren't stirring quite yet.
The engines aren't turned on at the moment.
Stalled a few times this morning.
The car's still in the garage.
Yeah, sure.
Is the best way of describing it. But we have an absolutely rammed podcast today with the golf world yet again providing a myriad of conversation topics as the world of golf ticks forward on its journey towards implosion. Or, I don't know, getting better. Yeah. But I think probably my glass is half empty today, so might be a few spicy takes, I think. By the time we get to the end of the podcast, though, when the coffee is done, I might be all right.
I think there are a few points in here which could go either way. You know, we're going to talk about the Ryder Cup. We're going to talk about some LIV things. We're going to talk about something that you posted on the internet, which I thought was very interesting, which we kind of were a little bit blindsided by. You could have an opinion both ways on all of these stories that we're about to talk about. You could either be particularly negative, glass half empty, spicy, or you could be, there's lots of great things going on here.
Oh yeah, I do agree, especially about the Ryder Cup ticket controversy, where the money grabbing gits, the PGA Tour have just done something utterly disgusting. But we don't need to talk about that. In other news, we're off to the States. We're going to be doing a lot of filming over there. We've got 2 weeks, full 2 weeks pretty much, of content in and around probably Carolina, Georgia, that kind of area most of the time. Yeah. A few things to be ironed out, but again, it's just another example of why I think like our videos this year are going to be just unreal. Like, we've got so many good videos coming. Then moving into next year, so many things coming up. I'm genuinely excited, and we get to go to the States again.
Yeah, always fun, always really, really fun. I love going over to the States. We're also going to be over there for Halloween. Which was not something that necessarily I felt like I really needed to do to experience Halloween in America, because I'm not going to lie, I mean, to anyone who's listening in America, it's probably sacrilege that I'm saying these things, but I don't think it's that much of I don't really love it as a holiday.
Yeah, we don't do it particularly.
No, we don't do it
particularly big here.
Obviously, we're not brought up on it as much as the Americans are, so I'm kind of excited to see
brought up on Halloween.
Yeah. Well, no, in the UK, Halloween is a real annoyance to a lot of people.
Yeah, quite right. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I know you've got kids, so it's a little bit different. The only thing I'm going to do on Halloween is make sure every single one of my curtains is closed. We stay in the back room, so we don't get bothered by some like oiks coming round. They've not even dressed up.
That's my thing. I don't mind if you're. And I also kind of just don't want strangers knocking on my door. But like, I don't mind if your child has made a seriously good effort and they've, used their brain a little bit and come up with a good costume and it looks cool. Great. Here's some sweets. I have prepared. Here's a couple of little chocolates.
Well done. Here's a trick.
Well done. If you turn up and you're like, and you haven't made any effort, and you're, I'm a local child. I've come in costume. That doesn't count. Yeah. Like, you have to make an effort. If you don't make an effort, then you're not getting the reward.
Was that you, by the way? No. Was that your script?
No, we never did Halloween growing up. Like, it just wasn't.
It's just not a thing.
Wasn't part of our.
I did it a little bit. I don't have like vivid memories of doing it, but I have some sort of thoughts of I have done it a couple of times. If you were to dress up in anything golf world related, what do you think you'd do? And also, do you feel like you'd have to kind of Halloween it up a bit?
No. You don't want to be like, tiger covered in blood.
Well, that's what I mean.
I think I'd be the alligator out of Happy Gilmore.
Good. Oh, good choice.
Well, I was saying you could be Chubbs and have your arm already, like, just post snap by the crocodile and your arm sort of hanging off.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. I think I've seen a couple of Happy Gilmore costumes in the past.
Yeah.
Shooter. Just go shooter.
Yeah.
Is there any actual pros that you could I'd
go Jason Day at the Masters.
Oh, with the Melbourne vest
and the big trousers.
Yeah.
See, I would not open the door to that person.
You've just got to, I suppose if you're going to dress up as someone, you need to have like a significant thing that they've got which can kind of identify yourself.
Yeah.
Not to completely talk about them every time, but I think I would do Tommy because it just makes it easier to do the hair.
Yeah, you just do it. You just get the giant brown wig and then
you need like a Nike hat.
All right. I was going to say, because if we did that in the States,
Yeah.
like they'd just open the door. Like, oh, you're dressing up as Jesus.
Who's
On
gone for a
Halloween.
golfing
This is
round.
a bit weird.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
Well, they might like that, I
you're
don't know.
30
No, Jesus.
years old. Why are you at my door?
didn't know Jesus wore beautifully,
30 yet.
beautifully fitted Nike apparel.
Round up. So yeah, we're in America for Halloween, which
And film golf videos, which is the more important part.
yeah, absolutely. But I'm sure we'll enjoy the festivities of this commercialized.
Are we allowed
holiday.
to say? Are we allowed to say who you're filming with?
No?
No,
Not allowed.
Oh my god! But let me tell you, it's more than the normal amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be really good.
What's a normal amount of people in a tea time?
4 max.
It's more than
More
that.
than that.
Yeah.
So it's the trip as a whole, as Pete sort of alluded to, is going to be really cool. And I think the back end of the year, the content wise, is going to be coming in hot.
Yeah, Jacob is in charge of planning when content gets filmed and then released, and there was a little bit of panic in his voice when we worked out how many were left and how much time we had to edit them in order to be done for the rest of the year.
I enjoy the challenge, but the last sort of month and a bit, and then also into the rest of the year, there's just been a lot of movement.
A lot of chopping and changing.
A lot of change.
A lot of change.
A lot of sort of, not necessarily hoops to jump through, but things to wait on and stuff that needs to happen beforehand. But it's all good. And like you say, the rest of the stuff that's going to be coming out towards the back end of the year is going to be really, really good. Really good.
I think so.
Yeah.
Talking about foreign travels.
Well done.
Luke Kwon shot 5 under par at the Black Mountain Championship at Black Mountain Golf Club
Today,
in Black Mountain.
What? So,
as of the Monday we're filming
yeah,
this.
hold on. Let me try and
No,
get
it's
the
not even
time.
Monday, is it? What day is it?
Because I saw it this.
Yeah.
I was waiting to see the
Thursday.
results. I was hoping to see the results this afternoon. Because, typically it would be...
You would think
in the
that's
US.
what happens, yeah.
And then I woke up this morning and it said 58 minutes ago, Luke bogey free 5 under. I was like,
Yeah,
so cool, we missed it.
Yeah.
This is one of the events leading into next week, which is it the Thailand Open? Is that what
Yeah,
it's called?
something- yeah.
I think maybe... Did Max say it was the beginning of the end of November or the beginning of November? Let me look it up. But yeah, so it's another
It's
Asia
next
Tour event.
week.
It's next week.
Yeah. The event he's playing, isn't it? Well,
Max one.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because we're just like towards the middle of October now.
Yeah.
Wow, your concept of time is just completely
baffling.
switched off, hasn't it?
Absolutely. baffling.
And this is one of the kind of examples that we've seen more of this year about creators who are also good players being invited to these events to play, and do definitely think it's going to continue. So hopefully Luke can carry on, because a bogey free 5 under is pretty impressive for such a big event.
17th of November.
17th of November it is today. So you're listening to this in the past. That's,
In the wow.
yeah, exactly.
God.
We have... What have we got coming out video-wise already? So we've got the Iron Review.
Yeah,
Best
the
Irons
Iron
for
Review
every
came out
golfer.
last week.
Yeah.
One of those we've done a sort of a few iterations of the video for the last couple of years now, and they always go down really well. I think it's just one of those things that we continue to do, I feel, better, and also kind of hold it down ourselves, I feel, now on the YouTube space of actually giving information to people. I know that there's a lot of enjoyment, and I love the golf and the playing aspect of it, and especially when you look at kind of the Americans' coverage of things, like they don't tell you anything. Not in a dig way, but like there's no kind of information that's being provided. Whereas I think what we do is a great balance of playing good golf and showing you really cool golf courses, but then also providing some information and telling you what is out there. Because also at the end of the day, like that's what it is about as well. Like it's not just about you going and playing some really nice golf courses.
Yeah.
Do you think we do the classics?
Yeah.
Are we like Oxford, Cambridge
Sure.
of YouTube world? Like
Wow.
we do some new stuff, but we're firmly rooted
Yeah.
in the traditions of YouTube reviews.
Absolutely. And we do them very well. And I think you should definitely, if you've not watched it, go and watch it right now. And then you can go and watch the Le Board video that came out yesterday.
Yeah, which is pretty much here.
You got your Laborde jumper on.
Got my jumper on, which is very soft.
It does look soft.
It's also very warm.
Oh, it is nice.
Yeah, the inside's even softer.
Have you been working out?
Sorry, it's just
the thickness of the jumper.
baggy jumper. Yeah, it's got pads.
It's got layers on.
Got a padded woolly jumper on underneath, and that's that was an interesting video. It's behind the scenes of a very, very exclusive club, one of the most exclusive in the world. The people who play there, who are members there, it's a completely different world, and I may or may not have joined. We have another video which is going to be out by this point.
Oh my god!
No, it will be in 2 days' time.
2 days' time.
Yeah,
because we're not recording this in the future.
yeah.
This is a video that you've asked for I don't know, 10 years.
Yeah.
So we did actually check this, and I can't believe this is true, that me and Rick have never played an 18-hole match on my channel, and with our own clubs.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
But you've done parts and stuff.
We've done parts, or it's always been Golf Bidder challenges.
Right.
We've never had an 18-hole match with
One
our
video,
own clubs.
No way. That
Yeah.
cannot be true. Wow. So Thursday.
That's when it goes down.
And as the proverb about buses go, you wait a long while for one that you come once.
Yeah.
I think in the next 3 weeks we're probably going to have 3 videos of me and Rick, and then there's going to be more expanding into the future as well as we continue our outreach program to try and play with as many YouTubers as physically possible, which, to be honest, is good. And it's something which I've noticed more and more about how it seemed kind of like last year, maybe the year before, like collaborations had almost reached a peak and people were like, we want to see some different stuff. It's coming around again. Like it's really apparent just how much people want to see just different creators playing with each other. And it gets us out of the house, gets us to these, to these different places.
And some sun, which is important.
Where did you play against Rick, and give people a little preview without giving away what happens?
Yeah, so it was up in Scotland. The first match we played at the Fairmont, where we're at the 7 Golf Invitational. That video should be out as well, where there was... just go watch that video if you haven't already. If you've not seen that video yet, just go watch it. Absolute wildness.
There's so many people in that video.
I think the total edit time on that, I think Seb was saying it's about 2 hours. So it's like a proper feature-length film.
It took them 2 hours to edit it.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Oh, bloody hell.
I think it took 2 teams about 2 weeks to edit it.
It just sort of when you list off all the kind of things they were going to have to go through in terms of getting that video together, it did give me some sort of shivers down my spine of... I'm almost glad that I'm not doing it, but I can understand how enjoyable that would have been to create. And I'm sure if you haven't watched it already, it's an absolute masterpiece.
More microphones than something with a lot of microphones.
Wow. So what a way with words we had this morning. Right. That's coming soon. And now we are going to be eloquent. We are going to be to the point, and we're going to try and keep as much emotion out of this as possible. Okay?
You are. I cannot promise to keep emotion out.
No, I'm going to be completely fair and balanced. So the Ryder Cup ticket prices came out the other day, and the cheapest ticket for the 2025 Ryder Cup competition days at Bethpage Black will be almost $750. Now that is an increase of nearly $500 from the 2023 event at Marco Simone. So, in being objective and being balanced, that is an absolute disgrace.
Yeah,
it's abhorrent,
and it scares me. It really scares me how incredibly expensive this is. Because the thing that I'm questioning and the thing I'm asking is, will this create like the worst Ryder Cup of all time?
I was worried about this Ryder Cup anyway because of the location. We know that New York fans can be rowdy. I have a feeling that because the US really want to win this one, I think that could be taken over the edge, because there's a real difference between passionate golf fans having fun and passionate golf fans going over the edge. And speaking to players on both teams, by the way, they have the sense that this could it could be right on the edge of what we would expect from a golf tournament. And at the same time, many of those fans who would have been really looking forward to going, who could, on the flip side of what I've just spoke about there, create maybe the best atmosphere in Ryder Cup history if it's done right. You know, we don't know what's going to happen. So many of those are going to be frozen out because it's $750 for a tournament day. It's a ridiculous amount of money. And it's not only that. So the tickets for the final practice session, which is the opening ceremony, some celebrity matches, a junior Ryder Cup exhibition taking place, that's effectively $430 for a practice day.
What?
Now, this isn't including drinks, this isn't including food, this isn't including travel.
Accommodation.
In
one of the most expensive places in the US.
And it's just going to be that if you want to go to the Ryder Cup, it is personally, if I went to that, I don't know if I'd be able to enjoy it fully, because I'd be like, I'm spending so much money here.
Yeah,
I think I want to relax. I want to get a beer. I want to get some food, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to enjoy it because I'm spending. Because the beer is going to be like $15 for a pint. This
is the other thing, is that I think it can go one of two ways. Either you go in and you've already spent $750 and your brain is telling you, right, now save some money and don't buy the $15 beer or the $20, $30 beers. Or your brain goes, well, I've spent all this money, I may as well enjoy myself. And it will be either really subdued because everyone will be worried about how much money they've already spent, or it'll be so over the top because everyone's gone, wow, screw it, I've already spent the $750 for the ticket, for the 2 tickets for me and my friend. Let's get absolutely nuts.
Let's drink ourselves to a point that we've forgotten how much it's spent.
It'll be one either end of that spectrum. I don't think there'll be very many people in the middle.
I think there was a real point. There's a lot of people drawing a comparison between LA Country Club, the US Open last year, year before, and what's going to happen at the Ryder Cup because of the price of tickets, about people not turning up, about a lack of real fans going, because it's something that we're seeing more and more and more with certainly sports events. When you get to the top end, and even, let's say, Premier League matches, for example, where ticket prices are just getting to the point where your traditional sports fan literally can't afford to go. And it's just a shame. Like, what really annoys me is most of the time the world is like, it can be crap, can't it? Like, the life we live, the life we live sometimes can be hard. There's depressing stuff going on all the time. You flick on the news, the world is tearing itself apart. There's things going on, like, in your life that are just causing you stress. Everything's going wrong. And for so many people, an escape is sport. They can go watch. They can get in the stands. They can be with a group of like-minded people, and they can enjoy themselves. And then all of a sudden, let's say you're really looking forward to going to the Ryder Cup. Oh, it's in my hometown. Let's say you're close to Bethpage Black. It's really close by. I love golf. Never gone to see a Ryder Cup. I can't wait. I'm going to get in the queue. I'm going to go to the weekend. I'm going to enjoy it. Oh, by the way, it's going to cost you 3 months of disposable income.
Wow. Yeah. It's sad. It is really sad.
You can enjoy. You just can't eat.
You have to cut something out.
That's great. Mate, you can get there. You can get loose. You can enjoy it with your friends. Oh, by the way, when you get back home, do you know the golf clubs where you actually really enjoy playing golf with? You'll have to sell those.
$750 is how much in GB money?
At the moment, it's probably about just under 700 quid.
Okay, so that's my golf clubs. It's my car, basically.
It's just exactly. Oh, you don't need your car.
There's shuttle buses.
Yeah, you just walk. Just set off 5 hours early for work. You'll be fine. You don't have to worry about that. Especially in the States as well.
If you leave now, you could probably get there in time for the Ryder Cup. So you don't even need to fly.
Swim. You swimming?
Yeah.
All right.
Like, you know what?
Lazy.
You know what I think as well? Like, obviously people might want to go to this. probably got kids and stuff. Like they bounce back really quick. Like they don't need to eat for a while.
Also,
I don't know.
kids can be taught to work hard as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are there still like cotton mills?
Yeah. You're 7 now, Johnny.
I'd like to announce that the Rough Cut Golf Podcast does not advocate child slavery in any way.
By the way, we're recording this in an old cotton mill in Manchester, where about 250 years
energy
ago,
just sucks into us again.
about 250 years ago, like 8-year-old kids would have been under the cotton machines clearing out any debris.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
that's the only way to afford a ticket nowadays. Anyway, but my ultimate problem with it is that in one of the most beautiful places in the world in 2023, it was, granted, it's more expensive than a normal sports event. Like I don't necessarily want to pay 250 quid to go and watch Arsenal. Arsenal is expensive, particularly in the Premier League. It's one of the most expensive. But in 2023, the Ryder Cup was affordable. The cheapest, I think, the cheapest practice day ticket $50-something.
It would have been $53 for
right. Okay, so $53 to go and watch the practice round.
Yeah.
You get to see great players on an incredible golf course that they're kind of trying to work out before they play this, once every 2-year tournament that everyone's going to watch. That's affordable. I don't want to have to, risk the rest of my month or the rest of my year on going to watch a sports event. That
kind of treads the line of, I don't expect them to come out and be like, oh, it's $50 to go and watch the Ryder Cup, because that's never gonna. They're never gonna do that. You say $277 to go watch a proper day. It's one of those things that if you're going to go to the Ryder Cup, I think you budget for it. You're going to do it. You work it out, and you just think, okay, well, I'm going to do this because this is what I want to do. The $750, just as you say, just completely pushes out half of a sort of area of fans that almost I think is such a terrible thing for the PGA to do, because all the build up to this Ryder Cup has been about how the crowd is going to be hostile. It's going to be a scary place for the Europeans to be playing golf. And they're almost shooting themselves in the foot that maybe they're now going to be creating this more corporate environment.
It's going to be the chinos and tucked in shirt brigade, enjoying corporate hospitality and not even particularly watching the golf.
You know what? This is one of the most this is what's kind of stressing me out about this as well. That's $750. That's not corporate.
That's regular normal boy ticket.
That's your ticket.
Wow.
And in Rome and Marco Simone, the maximum ticket price, again in dollars here, was $277 on the official ticket platform, but that included extras. That wasn't your kind of standard just getting the door.
Get to play.
Yeah. After the last group's gone out, it's just 4 balls. Did you not see it? It's just backed up 4 balls afterwards.
Come on, we're waiting on Rahm. Come on. You should have teed off by now.
It's so frustrating, and it's just because of that gap as well. Like, you've got a maximum ticket rounded up to $300 at Marco Simone, but that's got extras. And then all of a sudden, your standard ticket for a competition day, $750 at Bethpage. There's no context for that jump.
Yeah, what am I getting? Yeah, I'm already having to fly all the way that I'm in. For European fans, a bit different. The US fans lots of the US fans will have to fly there as well. Yeah. I'm already having to get there. I'm already having to pay to stay somewhere. The ticket should not be the most expensive bit of the trip, and for some people it will be.
No, it's $500. It's a $500 increase from the last event,
and that's only one day.
Exactly.
What if you wanted to go to the whole weekend?
I'm not being stupid here, right? Nothing has changed in the Ryder Cup, has it? There's not
you're not getting anything.
There's not 6 extra days, is there? There's nothing crazy going on.
No. Diamond plated trophy this time, I heard.
Yeah, like everyone who goes in doesn't get a foot massage. There's not something added.
There's not a complimentary beer on the ticket either or anything like that.
No. You don't get in like a sedan and get carried in.
It's not a free bar.
No, I don't think so.
When does it start making it worthwhile paying $750?
If that was a free bar, it'd be worth it for me.
$750.
I know.
For a day.
Yeah.
On a golf course for a tournament where there's less players playing.
I'd have to drink 75 beers.
That's the point as well. And I think we've all kind of made references as well. Like, golf as well isn't actually the best spectator sport when you're there.
He's going to blow his lid.
I cannot overemphasize how much I enjoyed going to the Ryder Cup last year, 2 years ago in Rome. Was the last year in Rome. I'm so angry I can't even get my dates right. I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, the whole vibe of the event, the atmosphere was unlike anything that I've ever felt at any golf tournament anywhere in the world. It was unbelievable. I was super lucky. I'm there with BMW, title sponsor. I got really good seats. Got to see the opening tee shots every day from different locations. Had an incredible time. But I didn't see that much golf.
Right.
Yeah. Well, then you say if you go to one of the days where foursomes or four balls is being played, there's 4 matches out there.
Yeah.
You're paying $200 per match if you're paying basically for $750.
Yeah. And you're never going to be able to follow them all the way around.
Well, that's the thing.
And some of them end quickly.
Yeah. You
So
don't even see 18 holes.
18 holes.
So, it's probably the thing that really frustrates me the most is the Ryder Cup for men's golf. President's Cup can get there, but the Ryder Cup realistically is the pinnacle of the golf events. Because the majors individually are huge every year. President's Cup, great. Obviously, you got things like Solheim Cup in the women's game. But for the men's game, at this moment in time, the Ryder Cup is the peak event. It is up there with World Cup in football, as far as like people who watch it. Well, obviously not that many, but as far as like the pinnacle of those sports.
Yeah.
And it really frustrates me how at this pinnacle event, people are going to be ripped off.
Yeah.
Because the PGA, and this is the thing, it's not the PGA Tour, it's the PGA of America who have the Ryder Cup rights. And you've seen this at like things like US PGA Championship, like the prices of drinks and snacks and all the rest of it. It's just too much. It's just taking the mick too much.
Taking the mick.
Wow.
$500 increase.
Yeah. It's too many, yeah.
I mean, I don't really think there's any time where a $500 increase would make sense. But then you still look at it and you're like, why? How? What?
I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to justify it in my head. I'm just trying to justify how.
Yeah.
$750. You can get a membership of a golf club for
$750.
You
literally can.
You can literally do that. Imagine what you could do with $750.
You can go to the Ryder Cup.
One day.
Maybe,
yeah.
if you walked.
Yeah.
It just really annoys me. It just really frustrates me that proper fans who really want to go will not be able to because of this price. And you hear it all the time as well about youngsters who go to these events, get inspired, and then move into this world of golf. They want to play it for a lifetime. There's no way that like an ordinary family is going to be able to go to the Ryder Cup.
No.
Like if you've got plenty of cash, great. And I'm not knocking anyone who's going to be able to pay this. That's great. I'm brilliant. Have a wonderful time. But for most people, it's absolutely obscene.
Okay, so I have just done a little bit of a search on the Ryder Cup website for 2025, and there's an FAQ section which talks about tickets. One of the questions is, what types of tickets will be available for purchase? The random ticket sale will include daily Ryder Cup Plus tickets for Tuesday through Sunday. All available tickets will be sold as single daily tickets. So there is a Ryder Cup Plus, which will obviously be the most expensive ticket. It doesn't say how much it is, which is how expensive it is. Included, you get access to the grounds for the specific day that you bought.
Oh, you get in with the ticket?
Yeah.
No way.
I don't know why they added that as like an additional extra.
Yeah,
this
is
is
what you
what's
get.
included.
Yeah.
What for the normal one? Is that not?
That's not
is that in
guaranteed.
doubt?
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually just
That
gets you in the queue.
Yeah.
Access to the Ryder Cup Plus inclusive food and non-alcoholic beverage program for the specific day that you've purchased. Access to public grandstand seating, so you're allowed to go there.
Oh, that's good. I
Are you
can
allowed to
sit
sit
down.
down?
Yeah. You get if you can get a
Amazing.
seat because there's other people.
These are the
sat in them.
standing ones.
The Ryder Cup shop, you're allowed in there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Go spend another
And you're allowed to use
$750.
the spectator amenities, i.e. the toilet.
Is it honestly said that? Yeah. You're not taking the piss?
No, that's the Ryder Cup Plus. So that's the bigger one.
I want to know what gets knocked off.
Wait.
I want to go
Just wait a second. Are you honestly telling me that they're selling the fact that you can use the toilet and get in the event.
That's a privilege.
And sit down.
Yep.
And have some water.
For too long, humans have been using toilets that they're willy-nilly, and I'm glad they're putting a cap on it.
Is Ryanair like in charge of what's going on here?
Yeah, they're going to do obstructed view tickets, so you have to stand behind the grandstand and just listen to the
Just
golf.
hear it.
Yeah. There's another question further down. This is the answer. Due to a high demand for 2025 Ryder Cup tickets, unauthorized third-party sellers and websites will feature ticket listings, both before the random selection ticket sale occurs and in the months leading up to the event. So not only are the tickets that expensive, they're going to get scalped and then doubled so that people can sell them on whatever the dodgy websites are that sell the tickets.
I hate this.
I
hate it.
Boiling, you're in it.
I just hate it.
Yeah.
It's really annoying. Oh, I hope I get to go.
You could make the team.
I hope I get to go. I'm going to find
a boycott.
I'm going to go. I'm going to find a fence. I'm going to cut a hole in it and geotag it.
Pete's,
I won't do that, by the way.
on the map, Pete's hole.
Enter.
Wait, what?
Right. Okay. I think we should move on because it's.
This could be the whole hour, but
let's talk about something else. Do
you want people just? Do you wonder why people get so annoyed and why people are watching less professional golf? It's because of crap like that.
Do you wonder why people think that golf's an elitist sport where it's inaccessible to the normal people? Because your tickets is $750. Let's talk about something else that also will inflame you and cause stress in the comments. Liv Golf and Greg Norman. Yeah, Liv are trying to edge him out, or what's happening? Talk us through what's going on.
Yeah, so it's actually happened within recent weeks where Liv are trying to find a new CEO. So Greg Norman currently fulfills that role. The PIF, which kind of backs Liv, they've basically give it to a employment company.
Right. What to do They've got a recruitment company.
Recruitment company, yeah.
There's recruitment for everything, isn't it?
I don't understand like the whole recruitment business, so you could leave me out of this. But they're searching for a new CEO.
I'll explain the recruitment business to you. It's an entity that people who want to go live in London go and get a recruitment job, do it for 6 months, and then realise this isn't that good, and then leave. That's what the recruitment business is.
It always surprises me how many people work in recruitment.
It's very good. It's so accurate.
The amount of jobs.
I'm also sorry if anyone works in recruitment and actually love their job, but that is kind of the
is it one of those like self-fulfilling things? So like, do you get recruited for a recruitment job?
Wow.
You actually kind of do in a weird way. Yeah. Because I remember when I was looking for jobs down in London and I was going for journalistic roles, videography roles. And somehow through the webs of like going through LinkedIn things, I was getting emails and calls from recruitment companies recruiting me to work in recruitment. Anyway, so Greg Norman.
Someone's going to get a percentage of the new CEO signing.
I'll tell you what, that's a good one to do, isn't it?
Yeah, because that's how recruitment...
Get a little bit of commission on that.
That's how they make their money. Yeah, if you stay in the role for a certain amount of time, they get a cut of... Yeah. They get like a percentage of your salary.
That'll be a good little contract to sort out that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would, wouldn't it?
I feel like this has been... like bubbling for a while though. I feel like Greg Norman getting pushed out the door has kind of been one of those things that's been rumoured for even over like a year.
I think from the outset, because he's a pretty divisive figure in many ways, and when Liv was kicking off, it was very abrasive, kind of what he was saying. It was kind of like, I want this. He's always wanted a world tour.
Yeah.
Even when he was playing, it was something he was advocating for. Obviously, Australian, he maybe has a little bit more of a world outlook on professional golf, whereas like the PGA Tour, obviously very US centric. So that's something that Norman has wanted for a long time. But the way he went about it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because it was, we're here, we're the best, everyone else can go away.
Yeah. Do you think though, and maybe this is over time because I didn't like it at the time, but now looking back, do you feel that actually Liv needed that?
I think they kind of did.
You needed someone to just kind of be a little bit in your face, a little bit sort of, and because it did sort of contrive some little bit of anger in people and some opinions of hate towards LIV.
It painted them as this kind of like bad boy,
but it did
alternative.
stir them up a little bit. But it also did create this versus, narrative that we now have between the two tours, which hopefully maybe that him getting sort of pushed out the door is kind of another stepping stone to...
Yeah, do we think that this is the final step? Do we think that this is the last kind of hurdle in the way of LIV and the PGA coming back to golf unifying again?
Yeah.
So they need to get rid of the figure that caused the controversy in order to unify the tours, bring the world of golf back together, make everyone happy.
I think there's three main points. So you've got Greg Norman, who has really annoyed a lot of people. Realistically, he can't continue in a role where he has a direct say in what is happening week to week tour-wise. There's too many kind of egos been bruised, and there's too many bridges been burned in this particular situation. You could argue it's the same thing with Jay Monahan.
Yeah.
I personally don't believe that. I think he's just going to stay in exactly the same position. And then the third sticking point is going to be regulatory from like the US government allowing this merger.
Yeah.
But we have seen in countless occasions over the years, when there's this much money involved, the deal gets done.
Yeah, they find a way to make it happen.
Exactly. So for me, this was a personal hurdle for a lot of people. And if a new CEO comes in who's a unifier rather than a divider, then I don't really see how there's anything which is eventually going to stop this. And what that format looks like, if it's the current team format that LIV has, if it's some kind of split year where you have normal tour events, normal 72-hole events, and then you have a team aspect, I don't know. But for me, this is one of the final little kind of twist in the saga.
So, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, do you think it was Rory's stipulation that he would get the players behind the unified tour if they ousted Greg from the deal?
Maybe. I mean, maybe.
Listen, the players all listen to me and to Tiger, and we'll tell them what to vote for. And we'll tell them to he's the
Were you being Rory then? By the way,
he's Frank Underwood. Yeah, I always take the role of Rory wherever I go. Yeah. He's like whipping up the players, and they've all said, yeah, we'll agree to it and we'll do it. You got to get rid of Greg Norman because none of us like him, and he was horrible to all of us.
So we're saying that you feel like
mean.
You're saying that this feels like this is the step that was required for now this merger to go ahead. So obviously, I mean, this whole time it's just pure speculation. Do you feel then that this is a sign that something is close to happening?
Yeah, it's just it's another little barrier. It's like another little domino.
Yeah, they've got
which has fallen. Obviously, the biggest thing is getting a structure in place and agreeing and making it lawful. Yeah, certainly in the US's eyes. I think as far as LIV goes and how that operates throughout the world, LIV could absorb the PGA Tour now because of the way it operates.
Sure.
So that is a interesting way to look at it. We always think, it might be PGA Tour and LIV coming together to form one entity, when realistically, the PGA Tour, and this won't happen, but the PGA Tour could effectively say, okay, we're not going to be PGA Tour, we're just going to join.
Yeah. And
we're going to have a completely separate thing going forward.
Yeah.
Which obviously won't happen, but that's a possibility on the outreaches of credulity.
Okay, so say it all goes through, the deal, a deal happens, everything joins back up again. The LIV team want some sort of team golf element. The PGA Tour want to continue the 72-hole, traditional stroke play tournament. What does your perfect format look like over the course of the calendar year? And does something like TGL factor in at any point? Where does the Ryder Cup sit if team golf is already... what does your perfect format look like? Because we love 72 holes.
Yeah.
Do we hate 72 holes? 54 feels not enough? Talk us through what your if it came together, what do you think it should look like?
The first thing you have to do is you have to get the best players together. You have to. I think the world has moved on from having just US events. I think it does have to go a little bit more global. We've seen this with the strategic partnership with PGA Tour, DP World Tour, which hasn't really come to fruition. Like, we've got the Scottish Open, that's basically it. So there needs to be a closer operation between all the tours to make sure we have more global events. I don't mind a more constricted time frame, which has been happening recently. Like, we see the fall events on the PGA Tour not really getting any interest from viewerships. I think Golf Channel viewership on the event in Utah last week for a Sunday was 115,000.
Which, by the way, that course looked awesome.
Yeah, Utah is
it looks incredible.
Is one of those places we're definitely going to go to. So that kind of format, as far as events where people aren't invested, they're not going to survive. They're not going to work. But for me, the traditional events of the national opens, the Spanish Open, Italian Open, the Texas Open, I know it's not international, but that's a big historic event, for example. Things like Bay Hill, Sawgrass. We have structured events. People know, people enjoy, where all the best players come together. That needs to come back. That needs to happen. For me, the team aspect, it doesn't do a lot for me in the current format that LIV have got it. It just feels too contrived.
Okay. I agree.
I could get on board with it if I invest in more time, but there's something about me that I don't really believe that, Bryson is that invested in
being a crusher.
I don't think it's part of his identity.
But I think, those things happen over time. LIV is still so young, and the format that they have created is so early in its life that, we've talked about, you have there about, the heritage of these older events, giving them meaning. And their format for LIV and the teams, the reason that we're maybe the reason that we're not so invested in them is just because they haven't been around long enough. Like when teams, people get at us in the comments for making football, comparisons, but like if a new team joined the Football League, it would take years and years and years for them to have any sort of history and heritage that people could connect to. I think the way TGL have done it is interesting because they have picked like cities, and then you can, in effect, support your city. I think the thing with LIV is that
if you're from America.
Yeah. There needs to be a European or an English team or something. That would be cool. But the thing with LIV teams is that, like, what do I connect to apart from the people in it?
Yeah.
And the people in it are arbitrary. They're like put together because
and also seemingly can move quite easily.
So what can I connect to? Because it's not as if Crushers are like, oh, all the Crushers players went to this university, and then all of the fans who like that university can support that team because that's its kind of identity. They don't really have that yet.
You're right. The connection is to the player that you like to watch, and then
which is individual.
And then if that player then leaves or moves to another team in the transfer market or whatever it might be, then do you stick to the team that you were? But the reason why I joined that team anyway, or supported that team, was because he was there. But now he's gone to Majestics or wherever it might be.
Am I an Arsenal fan or am I a Cesc Fabregas fan?
I think of it as in a way as well, because you talk, in the same way that how me and Pete both support American football teams, and how the PGA or TGL, have created their teams based on American sides. Now, we, as you would speak to any kind of NFL fan from this country, obviously don't necessarily have anything to stick onto. Why have you picked that team? And it might be a silly story.
because our boss did a random team generator.
But it's that kind of thing. Yeah. It's I turned on Madden for the first time and randomized it and got someone. Yeah. It's, for me, it's David Beckham was my favorite player growing up, and then the Giants drafted Odell Beckham Jr. Right, and I just went Beckham. Yeah. That's great.
I like the logo.
Yeah, exactly. It's just those kind of things, and then you can kind of stick.
They play in black.
Yes, and to come back to my point of saying how people move. Well, Odell got traded, and I hated that because I was like, well, he's the reason why I kind of started. But you do build but it is more than that, because it isn't down to, it is more of a team thing, and it isn't down to just individual people playing. Yeah. And you say about, they need to bring a European team in, but then again, I think of that as if all these NFL fans that have been brought up and built over on here. I think if you ask a lot of them now, because there's always been rumours of them saying there's going to be a London team that's going to be created. I think it's so far gone now for them that like I don't even think that would necessarily do very well, because all these people have built this connection with what's going on in America. And I think because of that fact, that because it is now American based, or now what we're hoping will be more worldly based, but if they do kind of do this team element and stick it to like places in America, it just sort of alienates a lot of the golfing world who are watching across the pond that have to try and... So that's why the team element for me is a struggle, because it kind of creates something in America that maybe you could get behind, but here it's harder to kind of engage with what's going on unless you do create these almost even worldly teams.
Yeah, you would have to have London GC, and they would be all players who grew up in London, or like if you came from London, you would support London GC because that's your local international
and
golf league.
How do you work out which of the... Because, there are so many golfers out there. How do you decide which ones get in the teams, which one don't? Is it the top 50 at the end of the year, then you divvy it up? Is it like...
Anything which involves a team, sports team, it's only going to be engaging and it's only going to be interesting if there is a fan base behind it. Because that's one of the best things about supporting a team. Yeah. Like, you can get behind it, you can feel personally invested, but it's the fact that there's other people out there who feel the same way.
Yes, yeah.
If it's always been the case, the fans are behind any team. They're the most important part of the team, you could argue. And like I said, LIV's only been around for a very short amount of time. But even if it was around for the next 10 years, I don't know. I just don't really feel how people could get really invested in supporting the cliques or the crushers or the four races.
I think it's hard to, because there's nothing to connect to apart from the players in it.
It's like you say, with you being an Arsenal fan, me being an Ipswich fan, Pete with Preston, like it is more than just the players. It's playing for that team, for that badge, and you appreciate the players that are in that side because they're playing for that team at that time. It's a bigger thing to them. Like, you are a fan of these sides because actually at the end of the day, Arsenal win, not Odegaard's won. Like there's more to it than just the person who's got the shirt on.
Yeah,
but what do I do? Because Preston never win.
Oh, sad.
You slither into mediocrity and mid-table. Comfortability in the championship.
God, it's been crap.
Well, yeah, you might get relegated this year.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah,
at least your tickets will get cheaper.
Might be able to win something coming back up, maybe.
But that's my point. Of like, I just don't see a way how that feeling can be created in golf, because you can't take away the fact of how individualistic of a sport it is. And the only time team elements have worked is when you put a nation international title over the top of the team name, and you are playing for one thing, and we can connect to that because we are part of Europe in a continent sense, not a political sense, but
always been part of Europe.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, Greg Norman's been replaced with CEO. Wow.
All the way from there to Pete supporting Preston.
Yeah, we went all around the world.
Butter pies.
And then, oh, God, I can't eat them anymore.
No.
Do you reckon Greg will just go to being a...
I think he's going to move to more of a back room. I think
still
he's still going to be involved.
He'll still be there.
Ambassador role.
Ambassador, yeah.
Who do you want as your ambassador? Greg Norman.
The thing is, though, we say that, and it's easy to be dismissive because of some of the things he said and how it's gone over the last few years. Greg is still a pretty popular kind of figure all over the world just because of how he played golf. He was one of the most attacking, exciting golfers to watch. Number one in the world for a long time. So, it's easy to kind of laugh and joke now, but he still has a lot of experience and probably a lot of good ideas to contribute. Probably shouldn't judge him on maybe how he's been portrayed in the press. Anyway, just trying to look at both
Absolutely,
sides.
Yeah.
Okay, so great discussion. Well done. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Pete signs with LIV. That's the news. Speaking of you signing with things.
Yeah.
Talk us through what you posted on. I've got the tweet. I've got the tweet or the X post. I don't know. Are you still allowed to say tweet?
It's always Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's always Twitter.
I've got the tweet here. I'm going to read aloud for people who don't follow Peter Finch on Twitter. At Peter Finch Golf. I'm pondering signing a club deal next year thinking while rubbing chin face and weighing up
Stroking my
what that
beard.
would mean for content and the opportunities it might bring. Which brand do you think would be a good fit for me? What on earth are you talking about?
I've been thinking.
What time did he tweet that? Has it got a time on it?
Well,
Was it 2 o'clock in the
no, it's
morning?
9:41 in the evening, so
Oh.
he's still.
What were you pondering at the time? Did you just put your book down and there was some sort of...
I've had quite a few days of pondering. I've had like 5 days of not a lot of proper work. I've had 5 days of being off. I've been talking with a mate, and pondering what we're going to do when we grow up. And
Is your mate Greg Norman?
my good friend Greg. And I'm just looking at kind of what we're doing on kind of YouTube, the places where content might go, and other opportunities that might arise if signed a club deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been looking at it a little bit more seriously. I've David's crunched the numbers on like our club review videos that we've done, and then we've kind of formulated what could happen if we signed a club deal. So we wouldn't do comparison club reviews, and then the other content
What would
that
replace that?
Yeah, could open up as a result of that. And realistically, our club reviews over a long period of time do pretty well.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned,
Evergreen content.
Evergreen
Yeah.
content. As you mentioned before, I think we do it pretty well, especially the comparison stuff. So I've no issue in doing that. I still enjoy club reviews. I like getting new clubs. Who doesn't? But where our content is going and like some of the stuff that we're doing, actually signing a club deal could work out really well.
Yeah.
And it could also kind of open up another opportunity as far as like getting another member of staff in and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been thinking about it. There's a lot of positives and some negatives.
I think ultimately the decision always comes down to what caliber of content do we get out of doing these things. It always, when you bubble it down to when we're making a decision, it's always, is the content that we produce going to be elevated by doing this in regards to the people that we can get on the channel, in terms of the places that we might be able to go to because of it. And like you say, financially, you can never, I think people would be more irritated with us if we weren't to say that there is always a financial gain from doing these things. And people would see through it anyway, that if we were to be like, oh, well, it's just, it's just really good clubs and I love them so much. But I think this year especially we've seen it more.
for people,
that's the voice of the.
For people just listening and not watching, we just did the
smacking the keyboard.
You're paid to say that.
Yeah, you see, you mentioned, we're looking out on and you seeing what other people have been doing this year, especially. You think of the guys like Grant and Micah who've obviously signed with TaylorMade this year. You've got the good guys with Callaway. You are seeing, I think, pros now being more aware of the YouTube space and probably being more accommodating to being involved, or even necessarily wanting to be involved. If you would have said to me 3 or 4 years ago that Rory McIlroy was going to do a YouTube video with Micah Morris hitting a driver as far as he possibly can, then I probably wouldn't have believed you. But those kind of opportunities are opening, and they're opening because of the access through these club deals.
The whole landscape of what golf media has shifted completely now. I'll go back to it again with the last round of a PGA Tour event got 115,000 viewers. Now that, for a live sports event with millions of dollars on the line, huge implications for where you finish. this full series is massively important to a lot of players. That's really low.
Yeah,
That's really low. Really low.
Well, one of our videos would do that in almost a day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, our Head Pro video did that within like the first day.
Yeah.
Last one from Castle Rock.
Well done on that edit, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I was really good in that video.
What's that from?
It's by purchasing this film, you've supported your local television and movie industry. Thank you.
I hope that's a world reference. I don't know if that's like
You wouldn't steal a car.
So yeah, everything shifted, and like you said, you do see when, say, Grant gets, can do an 18 holes with Colin Morikawa, for example, and from a content standpoint, which is what we do, that's our job. When I look at that, I say, okay, so if we did 18 holes with Colin Morikawa, if like TaylorMade, for example, what would be the equivalent videos on club reviews that we do to warrant not doing that?
Okay, so one of the good questions on the Twitter touches on this point exactly. Do you? This is from PB1892. Thank you, sir, Paul. Do you think that you can give unbiased reviews of clubs if you have a brand deal? Keeping impartial makes any reviews you give more relevant, surely.
Yeah, I don't know if I responded to. I think I responded to a few people, just like understanding that if this happened, if I did sign a club deal, and there's nothing on table at the moment, there's been few interested parties across a few years, but it's more if this happened, I wouldn't do the comparison club reviews
because of that fact.
Yeah, even if, let's say, we signed with Titleist, which, by the way, was maybe the most popular choice of people. Yeah.
Lots of people saying
Just a lot of people like Titleist
maybe
a lot.
Is that just because you in that question you say what would be the best fit for me? Yeah. Is that what people see you as a Titleist man?
No, just a lot of people love Titleist. Like a lot of people still see Titleist as like the premium.
It is the premium.
Yeah, lots of people have been. I think I saw one bit further down that said there's plenty of TaylorMade and Callaway content creators out there already. I think we need more Titleist YouTubers out there pushing their brand. It feels like their brand is more for pros and not the everyday golfer. A good content creator could change that.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you have...
That could be you.
It could be you. That's another reference.
Yeah, like all the big brands, like if we sign with any of them, all of them have positives. So I'm not too worried about that, and all of them make good clubs. But yeah, for me, I wouldn't be able to do comparison videos because, like you said, even if personally I knew that I wasn't being biased towards any particular club, if we signed with Titleist, then we did a Titleist driver review against a TaylorMade driver review, it wouldn't matter what that result is because it's kind of like, well, you're being paid by one of these manufacturers.
Yep.
You cannot physically
you can't
unbiased. Go
either way.
Yeah, even if we signed with Titleist and we did a Callaway and TaylorMade review, people will be like, well, yeah, you're only saying that
because of that
about that,
and it's because it goes both ways. Because you can't be positive about the driver because people say you're being positive because you're getting paid, and then you also can't be negative about the driver because they're not going to be happy you're being negative about the club that you're being paid to use.
It's just it'd be too complicated and it's too open for interpretation. Like the reviews that we do now, it is very much just based on my opinion of that club, what the data says, and that's fine. Just unbranded as far as like clubs go, so that's absolutely fine.
Thibaut Courtois.
Wow, okay. Hi, Thibaut.
Hey, Thibaut.
However, when you go on his profile, I'm not the famous goalkeeper.
Oh.
My interests are golf, downhill skateboarding, and computing. So not the famous goalkeeper.
That's exactly what Courtois is.
That sounds like I know you, Courtois.
Here's an interesting angle. Signing a club deal. You could then answer the question, is it better to have all your gear from one manufacturer or is it better to source it from different manufacturers? We do those like long-term reviews. Last year's club, like this year's clubs, all from different places, all over the shop.
Well,
Is that better than restricting yourself to one brand? And that could be a longer-term video. But then he says also, after all, it really depends on what perks that company can get you. Could they get you a PGA Tour wildcard entry? Could they get you programs on the tour? You can like lots. There's lots of things that signing a club deal would bring. Does it mean that the content would have to change? Yes, but is there some way that we can...
Just before you answer that question, I just want to tag another question onto it, which you're probably already thinking, because we're talking about how this is going to change potentially our content. So Mick's talking about there and saying like, it may be answering the question of having a bag full of all these clubs. So that's one thing. Then that can affect and will affect another string of our content or another strand that we have is our Build My Bag series, which obviously for years now you have gone across the board and you've selected clubs from different manufacturers.
Yeah.
And obviously that would That would have to change.
The driver video. This year's driver. The one from my manufacturer.
So, I mean, along with the question that Mick's asked, I suppose the question is what will happen to that as well?
So the different options that we have. So let's say, especially for the first year on that, so if we sign a multi-year deal with somebody, I honestly think the views would probably be better in that first year. Because rather than like having a selection of different irons and kind of what we're going to pick, it would be having this full tour fitting experience, you know, at an amazing location, TaylorMade the Kingdom, for example, something like that.
Those videos are always fun to make, aren't they?
Yeah, and it just gives you the opportunity to do a very different angle on how you're making up your bag. So I'm not too worried about that. And what we did this year, apart from the drivers and putters, really, what we did is say with Ping, with the irons, I knew I wanted to do Ping irons this year because I've not had them in the bag for a long time, and the products that they were bringing out looked fantastic.
And you needed help.
I didn't get the ones. I didn't get the ones I wanted though. I wanted more help. So we went to Ping and said, "Okay, can you do me a tour fitting of these irons?" So we didn't do any comparisons there. It was just these are my new
Straight
irons.
up, yep.
Yeah. So that's something that we'd probably do if we did sign with someone. And like I say, it's just different opportunities that would bring. But yeah, no club reviews. And to your point about using different clubs throughout the bag, I'm fairly confident whoever we signed with would have a product which works well for me.
Yeah.
Bear in mind that whoever we signed with, they're invested to find the best clubs that are going to work for me.
Yeah. And also, and this is the secret sauce that Trotty told us, is that if they don't have the specific club that you want, they'll just make and or adapt one for you.
Yeah, you know, it would be dealing with the very best fitters in the world who do this day in, day out. They will know how to get something that works for me. My swing isn't that wild.
I don't know. Have you seen some of the practice stuff you've been doing in there?
There's some stuff that works in there. So I'm confident that I'll be able to find something that works. And each brand now, really, there's only a few brands that have weaknesses in certain areas. Like if you think about Callaway from driver all the way down through putter with Odyssey.
Yeah.
Like, great. TaylorMade, same. Titleist, same. Even Mizuno make good putters now. I mean, come on.
That blue one from Fairway Down.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks, Matt Fryer.
So all these brands, I'm really not worried about not having great equipment to use.
Okay, so speaking about brands, Andrew Tinsley on the old Twitter/X said, Spalding. Put the Melita ball in play, bust out some retro Sevi irons while sporting some classic apparel. What the niche brands, the like cool, trendy, maybe niche brands that you would consider? Would you go? What if Ben Hogan was
McGregor?
Oh, God, those McGregor irons from last year were unreal.
I think niche brands are generally quite specific to an area. So Lab, for example, putting.
Tacoma.
Well, they're branching out a bit, but they're mostly irons, aren't they? Let's face it. Tacoma, you've got irons. Bettinardi putters, they do a few wedges. Crank, that's driver.
Wow.
JP wedges. So, you know, the niche brands tend to be pretty specific on certain areas. So you could have you could bring together a collection of niche brands.
You've signed individual deals with a driver company.
God, that's such a good idea.
Smithworks wedges
But it is interesting. Let's say somebody comes in with a big offer, which is a niche brand, which you're not 100% sure on. Let's say Itabori, the irons, the Japanese irons that I had last year. Let's say they come in and said, "Okay, love what you do. We're going to do this," and they come in with like this huge offer, which is bigger than anyone else. Then that's a decision of what the financial implications would be and what that would do. Because, you know, it can't be ignored. Like, it is a huge difference as far as income for the whole business would go and what that would allow us to do. It's all this kind of weighing up. It's all these options that we've got to consider. You know, it's not just about getting the best clubs.
Yeah.
It's about what it would mean for everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot to think about.
I mean, that's all well and good, and you can put a tweet out, at what was it, 9:30 in the evening after you've had a glass of red wine or whatever you decided that you were gonna.
I'm not drinking.
And there's maybe been a little bit of wishy-washy conversation right there. Are you actually serious about trying to sign a club deal?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
So this is something we could see 2025 Peter Finch with a brand.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I think just because of the numbers that we've had a look at as far as like views and content and all the rest of it, I think we could elevate everything that we did next year.
Do you have a brand in mind that you would? Is there one that you want to go to?
Not really. No, not really. I'd love to say yes, but as mentioned, every single brand that we work with from club review standpoint, they're all great. There's some things that come out every now and again that I'm not 100% sure on, but each brand has so many different types of clubs now as well.
Yeah,
I'm really not worried. I'd be comfortable with any of the major manufacturers that have through the bag and ball.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Okay, so one thing that did come up, lots of people saying, yes, do it if it gives you more opportunities. Wonderful. Lots of people saying, no, we don't want to see you change the content just to take the money. Also understandable. For me, and for lots of people in the Twitter verse, X-verse, one of the big highlights of the year is you tinkering with the bag and then playing Quest for the Open tournaments throughout the year. Do you think that signing a club deal would negatively affect your ability to actually play golf? And the tinkering that you like to do, let's not pretend that you do like to have a little switch up and a little change and try things out. You wouldn't get to do that. Will that negatively affect your golf in a year?
So this sword is very much double-edged. I do like to tinker, but one of the reasons I like to tinker is because I have access to all the clubs.
Yeah.
So it's so tempting if I have like putting's the perfect example for me. If I have a few bad rounds putting,
change your grip.
That's because you're a golfer and everyone does it.
But that's the thing. I'm a golfer, but I'm an exceptionally lucky golfer that rather than saying, you know what, I've had a few bad rounds, I'm thinking of changing putter. If I have a few bad rounds, I can walk into our storage and get a new putter and give it a go. I'm incredibly lucky at that point. And with signing with a brand, one of the very best things that we could have is, yes, it's access to players, hopefully, to do these course vlogs. It's also access to other people who are associated with that brand. So let's say it's with Cobra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, can I have 5 sessions with Claude Harmon in the 3rd place?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good Quest for the Open video.
Yeah, there's more than outside the players, isn't there? The expertise in the fittings.
If you sign with TaylorMade, you get more access to Trotty. And you're
good or a bad thing, not sure.
I love Trotty. I want to see him as much as possible.
The point about the tinkering, though, like you say, is kind of double-edged, because even though you can then only tinker with the clubs that you are paid to use, the actual tinkering you can do and the access of expertise and knowledge that you get compared to you just having to make the tinkers yourself. You could have a club. I think the one of the hybrids that you got given was like a really lofted down, stiff shafted,
the
kind of
black and red shaft.
With the John Rahm super stiff shaft. Those kind of things maybe wasn't necessarily a build-up of a club that you would do yourself or even necessarily think of, but you have those, access to expertise of someone that would then look at you and go, actually, you know what? This is what we've done for X, name
Ricky
Tour
Fowler,
Pro, and this worked really well for him. Or if you do have a couple of rounds with a club that you're not liking and you just message that person, you go, oh, I'm struggling with this. Either it's required that you come back in and get refit, or they tell you, knock it down a couple of degrees in loft or whatever it might be. So again, it's kind of one of those where your pool of clubs is shrunk down quite a lot, but actually your access to information is probably grown.
I think there would have to be we'd have to draw utilize one of the walls in the office and draw a map of all of the content strands that would maybe go away or would be like drastically reduced, and then draw a map of the content strands we think we would then have access to with a club deal.
That's being done already.
Yeah, and then work out how the crossovers work. Yeah. Is Pete's, which driver is the Build My Bag driver video? Is it replaceable by the fitting video for the new driver?
Yeah.
Do they? It's so tricky because
it's speculative as well because you don't know.
Also, like I have, and I know lots of other people will have been watching you do Build My Bag and club reviews for such a long time, and it does feel like it would be like quite a sad thing to see those things go away. So
there was a time where, Pete has been with a club brand before.
Yeah.
And
talk about that maybe then. So what was that like, and do you want to go back there?
No, so that was with TaylorMade. That was a fantastic year. Something that we did there was we did with TaylorMade. We did things like with players, did different projects. When it came to the end of that deal and the time came to renew, it was like, well, what should I have a go at doing club reviews again? Like, what would that look like outside of a club deal? Yeah. So that's kind of what we decided. That's what we did, and it's worked out pretty well. It's a weird question of like, where would it have carried on if we were with TaylorMade? Yeah. Like, would we be in the position that we are now? Would it be better? Would we have had access to a lot of players and a lot of different stuff earlier? It's such a hard one to know. It's such a hard one to understand.
What is Kim Koivu doing right now?
I'm not sure actually.
That's a deep cut reference, isn't it?
Who the flaming heck is
Yeah,
that?
exactly. Yeah.
So we did TaylorMade. We did a series. I think it was 4 videos throughout the year with Kim, who just qualified onto the European Tour. And we did a series of videos like charting his progress throughout the year,
right?
Like how he was getting on tour.
I think I maybe have seen them a long time ago.
By the end of the year, he didn't retain his card. I'm not sure what he's up to now. But things like that, again, that's a different form of content that we could do that now. And that's the one thing that we do have to bear in mind as well. There's a lot of these video ideas that would become easier through a manufacturer, but there's nothing saying we couldn't try and get those organized now as well. Yeah. There's nothing to say we couldn't do that as like a independent, like we did with Podrick Harrington. That was through Wilson. Yes. We don't have any kind of commercial relationship with Wilson, but Wilson said, "Oh, we have Podrick. Would you like to use this time?" Yeah. So great, fantastic. So yeah, it's a tricky one, and I would miss doing proper club reviews, but one of the reasons why I am interested in this and why it would work in some respects is that the amount of club reviews that we do per year versus the videos that will replace them is actually not that huge. Like, apart from January where it's silly season with clubs, like we realistically only do 1 to 2 club related videos per month.
In terms of a pure review, it's literally the start of the year. Yeah. Really. It's just then it's those kind of insightful comparison, advice, information videos that kind of filter in throughout the year.
And again, it's all about content. It's all about content.
That's what it comes down to.
If we replaced, like we do the driver comparison every year, for example, and it was like, that's gone, and people are like, oh well, I want to know what the best driver is this year. That's disappointing. Why would you do that? I said, yeah, I know, but we've got this other video in place. It's me and Rory.
Yeah, I'm playing 18 holes with Tiger. Right.
Oh, by the way, everyone still wants the big fish, the big cat. Never going to happen. So yeah, it's what you replace it with. So I don't know. More discussions will be had.
We'll see.
What's he doing?
Looks like still playing golf. Won 3 times on the Challenge Tour in 2018.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, not much on the old. Not much on
that might have been when you filmed.
Not much on the wiki, but looks like still sponsored by TaylorMade. Signed a deal with Puma.
Good lad.
Lots of there he is.
Well, and Kim.
He is a nice guy.
Yeah. Trophy Hassan 2 in Morocco.
Yeah. Still Challenge Tour then, I think.
Yeah. Cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Good luck, Kim.
Well done.
Cool. Right, I think that's us pretty much talked out. Guys, huge thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments below about what you think about the discussions raised. I always like literally start melting at the end of every one of these podcasts. I need to
and if you
sustain
own if you own a club company and want to sponsor Pete next year, please get in touch because we're considering all offers.
Yes. Oh, that coffee's cold. Right.
Me and Mick are also floating offers out if anyone wants to.
If you want to sign 15 handicapper,
that's spot 50. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
bye.